Hey everybody, it's Brandon with RPG Overviews, and in this video we're going to be taking a look right here at Elfking The Immortal Role-Playing Game Adventure Module, Ruhe of the Rose Tower. Don't know if I said that right, I probably butchered it, but I believe it means in German like quiet or calm of the Rose Tower. So I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. Of course, it's got great AI-generated art that has been manipulated by the creators. It looks very well alongside with the main Elf King book. Check out my video and see what you think about the main core game. But I'm going to be spoiling this, so let's go ahead and take a look through it. It's going to be a PDF I'm looking at. It's a kind of a two-spread PDF, and the adventure's about 29 pages, and then it's got some quick reference tables at the back that's very good. And of course, I'll be talking about the art a bunch, as we can see right here in this introduction. It's going to go over again about how these elves are different. They're 7 feet tall, they're immortal. Iron is poison to them. They can be harmed and die. They do not require food, and there are no elf children. And they have small societies known as circles, which are ruled by thanes. The only authority a thane recognizes is the elf king of the title. There are, of course, mortals in the world, as well as trolls, but they are the hateful and twisted immortal cousins of the elves themselves. But what do elves value more than anything is glare, fame. This fame is the sole aspect of which ties an elf to reality. For without it, a fae will wither from existence. A fae must constantly court danger and attempt great deeds or be forgotten, which to them is a fate worse than death itself. So very cool. I mean, I really like the idea behind this world and this game. So here we've got some AI-generated art here of what I believe to be the tower. Now, whether or not this is exactly what they thought it looked like, I'm not sure, but it does look very nice. Because I know sometimes what's in your head isn't always get generated with AI-generated art. You kind of have to work from it instead of it working from you. But it does look good, like the roses and the colors and everything like that. So there's a couple reasons you could visit the tower. Maybe you're just curious and you want to get glare and glamours, glamours being magic. They may have been directed by your Thane. It could be, do you think it's abandoned? You could use it as a base for your circle. There maybe has been talk that hostile forces are going to take it over. They may just simply stumble upon the area entirely by accident in pursuit of otherwise unrelated adventure. It says, whatever the reason, characters will most likely not be well informed of the nature of the tower itself. And so the tale of the Rose Tower doesn't have to really take place with your characters. It's great for you to read to understand what it's all about. Pretty much there was two brothers, and I'm not going to say their names because I'll probably absolutely butcher them, but I would tell you, anytime you come across a name that you're not sure how it's pronounced, try to do your best, obviously, but just make sure that you're consistent. I mean, this is your game. I'd love to have this phonetically written out so that I can understand exactly how it's supposed to be said, these names. But just make sure you stick with it, and your players won't know. And that's all it's about. You'll have a good time. So really, this is a story about two brothers, one of them very resentful for his brother's fame, and decides to take over his brother's tower when that brother is gone. So he gathers up a bunch of people for them to take over the tower, and he's very headstrong about it, and obviously extremely greedy and resentful of his brother, and they disappear. You don't know the fate of them. They don't return from the tower. His brother doesn't return either. So in essence, it's just lost, and it's for you now to explore. So it's going to talk about the lands of the tower. The thing that's mainly you need to understand about it is that it does not dwell upon is, and that's kind of the area, the continent. Not sure if I can't remember if that's the land, the world, whatever the case may be. But it's a nearby dimensional pocket rift. There's kind of subtle changes that happens to characters once you travel from one reality to another, as you cross through a thin membrane separating the two. There's no real spell or noticeable gate to cross from those two worlds. But one thing you'll notice is that the terrible winters that's happening throughout is no longer there. It's got a nice blue sky, and it says that the tower, there's a kind of a mist that surrounds it. It ascends skyward and seems to emit a slight rose-tinted glow from within, the hues of which shift and writhe about the walls. So now if you look up at a balcony or a window, you may look away, and then when you look back, it's shifted in position. So this whole place is just constantly full of glamour, of magic, it seems, and changing, really kind of alive with magic. So that's one of the things you really want to, get across to your players. There is a moat, there is a gate, there is a bridge, So there's a bunch of gulls because it's close to the sea, and they're calling and flying about. You can hear the ocean. It's got a really great visual to it when you read how it is, and this is written very well. So the first thing you're going to come to is the talent and treat. This is pretty much two animated upper torsos, and they run the whole gamut of emotions. They're going to, it says, cajole, implore, and entreat any visitor to the tower. They may seem amused or threatening. Any number of emotions may cross their faces, seemingly at random, but is not but a ruse in order to keep visitors detained. Whilst angered by a response, the clouds above them may darken and crack with thunder. But just in a second's notice, they may switch, and their voices become, very nice, and they give you compliments and fawning demeanor. And so they're very weird, kind of strange little things, but it's, again, a very kind of introduction to how this place is so magical. Um, they will chat amongst themselves too. They remind me of the movie Labyrinth, the two door knockers, a little bit, except you can see how they look there. And they'll say some questions like, "Who art thou? From whence did thou come?" More specific things such as, "Art thou the bearer of a Thane's word, or a Thane's sword, I should say? Hast thou come from mortal realms? Dost thou know of the red pools on the Isle of Hars?" So they'll ask some questions. Endless questioning will persist until you've pretty much had enough. They'll say stuff like, "Thou must beware of the beast who stands. Only to the right, we say." So they're going to give you some stuff you're not exactly sure. They'll maybe snicker at you as you pass, but it's a neat introduction. If you try to attack them, they'll kind of holler out to you and be like, they hurt us, and why do they do such things to us? They're just trying to get sympathy for themselves, but any attacks and stuff will soon disappear. And then you're going to have the moat bridge, the outer wall, and then the gate. And so this gate is made of a neat worked alien metal of some unidentifiable sort, coiled and twisted. So it's very unique. And then there is a way to get past it. It's a Phalock, in which you have to make a essence test in order to get through. And of course, the next time the caster enters through the doorway, the spell is extinguished. So it's going to be kind of one of your first main tests in order to get through with a roll. Of course, this piece of art again looks great, and it gives off a good view of how this place is in this garden area. So you've got this scented garden as with the next place you're going to go to, and I do wish that with the correlated with the map it was numbered, especially when we get inside the tower, as it gets a little bit complicated with where stuff is located and where it goes to, exits and entrances. So the scented garden is going to have some really incredible plant life that will not be known to most of the characters. You can roll something very high, and maybe you can kind of identify some sort of plant or flower that's growing there, but it's going to be quite unique. And it says that there's a batch of locust seeds might be found in this way, perhaps. It says there may be other less different types of growing in the underbrush, and there is a scent in the garden. It's going to make you kind of slow down, and just everything's going to here is going to try to slow you down from getting inside, and so you're going to take your time looking around. You will come across the dark globe. The dark globe is a pretty much a type of creature or encounter that you will face, and you're going to need to go to the rulebook for its stats. I kind of wish the stats were here still in this. That would be more helpful, but you're going to encounter the dark globe in this scented garden, and then it's going to show you once you get close to the Rose Tower exactly how it is. It's difficult to discern exactly the height of the tower. Everything just kind of changes and moves and switches when you're not really 100% paying attention to it. It says some areas may be smooth and featureless, and then later on there could be something there, maybe a balcony or an arched window. So it's very, you're going into something quite strange. And then of course you're going to come to this doorway, but you can kind of see it in behind the writing there. And this is a neat thing. This is really something that's strong here. It does, of course, remind me a little bit of the Gates of Moria, trying to say a word to get in. And there is something you have to make some rolls to read this saying. And one thing I really like is that it tells you, as you're running this, that the players have to act this out, not their character. They must actually close their eyes, recite the phrase from memory, and as best as they can try, once they've made their rolls to understand this language here, to try to pronounce this phrase. So I really like, there's several times in this where it does that, where it makes it, anytime that you can make the player interact physically with the game, I always like that. And so that's how you're going to have to try to get in. And I think that's, of course, very clever. Make your players do stuff. And then we're going to get into some sections here about the way beyond and the bridge to nowhere. And I want to kind of jump to the map to kind of show you some stuff that's going to help you visualize it. But we're going to go through a bunch of chambers, circular tower type stuff. There is an arena of death. There is a very important NPC here. I do like that piece of art. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to read over the art, the way the writing is, but I was able to kind of finagle it. There's some really rough traps in this. This whole place is pretty much full of traps. Now, they might not be deadly traps, but they're just either irritating or they lock you there forever until you figure them out. And so we're going to go right here. There's some pre-generated characters, as you can see, and then we've got the map. So here you can see the Talon Entreat. That's before you get to, that's like where the gate is and where you get across the moat. And then you've got the Scented Garden and the Dark Globe over there to the west. And then you've got the Rose Tower. And then you've got this bridge to nowhere going to the Rose Balcony, and this inside the Rose Tower. I wish these were numbered to go with the, just kind of, giving us that normal 1 to 2 or A to B, B to C type thing. And then we've got some quick reference tables here, which are very helpful, that are what you would need, then you would find in the rule book, just as a kind of a useful thing to look at. So what's going to happen when you get in here? Well, you're going to have multiple rooms, and every single one of these rooms are going to have some sort of puzzle, in essence, it seems. And I'm not going to break into it too much because it's just going to kind of, this video will be quite long, but it does really give you a sense of just an extreme amount of magic is in this place. There's 3 arches, Chamber of 3 Arches here with different exits. You have to make some tests in order to see stuff. The players and their characters are going to have to decide not to believe that things are there, to actually say, that's an illusion, I'm not going to deal with that. And so that's going to actually change how they move around this place. You have this arena of death that's interesting. There's not a whole bunch of combat. There's not a whole bunch of statted out monsters in this adventure, but you're more than welcome to add those to it from the rule book if you want to have a real fighting adventure. But I think the real scope of this is mainly just the exploration of the place, the strange, amazing magics that are going on within it. Each one of these things, like the columns of contrast, is another puzzle that has to be figured out in order to maybe open up a way to another room. So whether or not your players might find that stuff frustrating or they really enjoy that stuff, of course, is going to be up to your group. So you can see it's a little bit kind of disjointed a little bit in where stuff is. It would be nice to have, again, maps maybe here. And of course, this goes to my sensibilities of a lot of other role-playing games that I've played and how they lay out stuff. And this has more of kind of a, just kind of almost like a written book type way of explaining stuff to you. But I do like some of the art here. Again, some of this can be kind of difficult, and to kind of spoil some stuff, you have this unending stair. It's in essence stairs that go up, and if you do not do stuff correctly, you will continue to go up the stair forever. And since you are immortal, you'll be doing that forever, since you don't need to sleep, you don't need to eat, and you're not going to die of old age. You'll just continue to be trapped in this place until you find it. And one thing that's neat about it is, as you're in this place, time is going very quickly on the outside, so it kind of has some of that too. Well, you're going to come across Rosibel Brymere, I think is what her name is. And she's pretty much one of the people that went in with that brother to try to take this place over, and she's been in here so long, she's lost her mind, and she's insane. And more than likely, she's going to try to attack you. There are some stuff in here, should you be able to get her on your side, but she's very chaotic, and but she's been in here, lost, trapped within this place, and is gone absolutely bonkers. But she can be bargained with, but it's going to be difficult. But that's going to be really the main encounter that you're going to deal with this place. It's going to tell you how to get through the unending stair, how to get to the descending stairwell. It's going to switch around. And then at some point, once you figure out exactly kind of the illusion about this place, you're going to be able to come to the sanctum, and there's a lot of really neat random items. Now, one thing I really like is these random items, or just items in general that are written in this game, are really neat. Like right here, a glass bottle of Sea Drake ink, purple in color, as well as selection of quills and parchments. A magnificent cloak of dark embroidered materials, which impressively trails behind the wearer. Some of the items just have this nice kind of magical fantasy feel to them. There's rechargeable essence crystals, stuff like that. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of exploration of this this tower. And there's going to be, of course, the reward could be the ownership of the tower, which is very cool for your circle. And it's going to give you, of course, possibly some glare to boost up your character's fame. So there is a way out of the sanctum, and then maybe there's some further complications that are going to happen down the way if you've taken over or completely gone through this tower. So there it is. The pre-generated characters are very cool. You can see like this character's name is of the Blue Twilight, and very kind of enigmatic kind of character. Nita Greylome. You've got Pollock Tooth Counter. Just very cool, and I like how they've got a written thing about their history, what type of glamours they have, their weapons and items and stuff like that. It's very neat. And then the maps. The maps are serviceable. They could be better. I would like to see numbers and stuff like that, and little arrows just to let you know how to get through this. And the quick reference tables are very helpful as well. So there it is. There's kind of the back again. There it is. I'm going to say the Quiet of the Rose Tower. I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly the translation that they were going for. And I believe that there is a section that actually kind of talks about that, about exactly what that is. It says it's a word used by the Fae to describe something akin to a curse. For truly, there seems to be something which is accursed about this place, but the German translation is kind of calm or quiet. So take that what you will. So it is cursed, obviously, especially when you can get stuck in there for eternity. So yeah, if you want more monsters, add them to it. It's just really a location of strangeness and strange magic, but it seems like a really neat introduction to Elfking, the Immortal role-playing game, without being too much fighting that instantly kills your immortal guy. So there it is. Thanks for watching.